Should we laisser le bon temps rouler?
Find out next on Junk Feud.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to Junk Feud, the podcast about junk food, where we rate and review mystery treats to determine which one will be the undisputed champion of snacks. I'm your host, Mike. Alongside me, as always, Alyssa.
Good morning, Dad.
Good morning, Peck. We're recording this in the morning. What have you got for me today?
So, what has 4 wheels and flies?
What has 4 wheels and flies? A flying car. A Ford Anglia.
No.
No. What is it?
A garbage truck.
Oh, like flies.
Yeah.
Because it stinks.
Yeah.
You know what doesn't stink?
This podcast.
This show! That's right. Welcome back once again to the world's yeetest podcast. That was, before we move on, a dad joke, a joke you tell to your dad. If you'd like to submit a dad joke for Alyssa to tell me on the show, you can send it in to us via Twitter at junkfeudpod or via email to junkfeudpod@gmail.com. Liz, what's going on, bud?
Well, we got a new table. It's really pretty.
We did. We got a new kitchen table. The old kitchen table that we ate most of our meals and snacks on for the past, well, your entire life, your brother's entire life. I bought that in my first apartment after college. That thing lasted us a long time.
Like 20 years.
Yeah, that's right. Almost exactly 20 years.
Wow.
R.I.P. to a real one. Is that what kids say?
What?
Liz, you know what week it is?
Mardi Gras.
It's Mardi Gras week. That's right. Liz, what do you know about Mardi Gras?
Well, I know the weird parts.
You know the weird and bad parts. What are those? And obviously, of course, you know those parts because you're a kid and that stuff is funny to you.
And because that's what Christian told me.
Because shout out to friend of the show, Christian, who tells you about all of the bad things. And what did Christian tell you about Mardi Gras?
So basically, it's like a celebration where it's like a big party and people all get together and they have food.
Uh-huh.
And then if you want to earn beads, you have to show your tatas.
Oh, geez. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, sure, that's part of it. There's a bit more to Mardi Gras than that. A bit more to it than just misdemeanor indecent exposure, I guess we could say. You know what's funny, though? That's not, a lot of people think that's like a new thing. Part of the whole bead culture is sort of a new addition to Mardi Gras since like the 90s when there were infomercials for, videos that you could buy and have shipped to your home in discreet packaging. But no, in fact, Alyssa, local newspapers in the New Orleans region have been documenting indecent exposure at Mardi Gras since at least 1889.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like more than 100 years old.
That's older than you.
Only a little bit, right? Because I'm old. That's the joke?
Yeah.
Yeah, good one. So Mardi Gras, of course, Alyssa, is more than a single day. It is an entire season, really. It's the period of time from the Epiphany, which is January 6th, 3 Kings Day, the 12th day of Christmas. You've heard of some of these things?
Yeah.
Through the day that's called Shrove Tuesday, which comes from the word shrive, meaning to absolve, because confessions were made and absolutions granted on that day. And Alyssa, in other parts of the world, specifically in Brazil, that season is called Carnival. Do you know what Carnival means?
Carnival?
Yeah, it is carnival. It's a big party. It means literally from the Latin root carne, like meat. Carnival means to take away meat, as in you are going to be fasting during Lent. So the meat is going to be taken away from you. You know what some of those things are, right?
Like not being able to have it?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. And Mardi Gras, the words themselves, Mardi and Gras, translated from French, means Fat Tuesday, Liz.
Is it on a Tuesday?
It is. Mardi Gras is a Tuesday. It's the day before Ash Wednesday every year, which for Christians around the world is the start of the Lenten season, a period of fasting.
What's Ash Wednesday?
Ash Wednesday is the first day of Lent. If you go to church and are a Christian, you believe that there is this thing called the Lenten season, which sort of celebrates the 40 days and 40 nights that Jesus went into the desert and didn't have any food to eat. And it was the period before his crucifixion and death and Easter Sunday, which was his resurrection and ascension into heaven, all of that kind of stuff.
Do we get off from school?
Well, Easter is a Sunday. You have off on Easter Sunday because it's a Sunday.
On the Wednesday.
On Ash Wednesday, no. But you will notice that if you go to school on Ash Wednesday, some of the kids that will get up and their parents will take them to church early in the morning will come in with a little cross made of ashes on their foreheads. It's kind of like a signal, a signature.
Oh.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So,
Wait, like of dead people on their face?
well, it's not actually dead people. The ashes, I think, are made from burned palms, if I recall correctly.
Good.
It's a representation of the circle of life. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. You've heard that before?
Yeah, and the Lion King.
That's well, the circle of life. Yes, obviously, is from the Lion King.
Wait, how does that song go? Like,
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't remember it. I remember Simba.
Uh-huh. Do you think Simba went to a Mardi Gras party and got a bunch of beads?
No.
No. But if he did,
Moana
definitely did not go to a Mardi Gras party. I don't think they were celebrating that
I love
in
Moana.
the age of voyagers in the South Pacific.
That's like my favorite Disney song.
That one specifically?
Yeah, like the Make Way
For
Moana.
Very good. Thank you for finishing that for me. So, Liz, we were saying Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday, the day before Ash Wednesday. It was the last day to get all big and fat on all the food that you had stored up before you had to fast, sort of sacrifice things that you weren't going to indulge in during the Lenten season, because Lent was a period of sacrifice.
What would you do, Dad?
What would I do?
What would you, not have?
Oh, so Grandma would make us pick something to give up during Lent every year, which meant for 40 days you couldn't do this thing that you were going to give up as a sacrifice. And usually I would pick something like moderately difficult, something that I would miss but that I wouldn't have every day. So I'd say like, oh, I won't have any ice cream during Lent or something like that.
No ice cream?
No ice cream during Lent, yeah. It was.
Can I choose something?
If you really want to. I mean, that's not something traditionally we have done, but if you want to, by all means, go ahead and pick something to sacrifice during the Lenten season. You're thinking really hard about this.
Snickers.
You're going to give up Snickers bars, which you've had exactly one time in your entire life, and it was on this show?
Yeah.
Okay, so not really a tough one right there. But for many people around the world, Mardi Gras was sort of the way to have a lot of fun one last time before they were going to give up stuff that was important to them during Lent. So it was the big party that they would have, the big bash, the big blowout, one more time before going into sort of like fun hibernation for the next month or so.
Wow.
Yeah, and in fact, now for us, Fat Tuesday, Mardi Gras is one of the best food holidays lists because it has fat right there in the name. There's a lot of good treats that are associated with the day. There are huge feasts that are prepared, and most of this takes place in a place called New Orleans, Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Have you ever been to New Orleans?
Nope.
Liz, this will surprise you, but I've never been there either.
Really? You've been like everywhere.
I've been to a lot of places. I've never been to New Orleans, Louisiana. I've been other places in Louisiana.
Dad,
I mostly wish that I hadn't been there, but I've never been to New Orleans.
When we counted to how many states you've been, it was like 40 or 39 out of the 50 states.
Yeah, it was quite a few. I'm not all the way there yet, but we're working our way up to it.
Oh.
So, Liz, the reason I brought up New Orleans is because Louisiana, the state of, is the only place where Mardi Gras is a legal holiday, Liz.
Really?
It's that big there. And in fact, it comes from the history of French settlers in the New World. An explorer, you'll like this, his name was Jean-Baptiste Lemoyne Serre de Bienville.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's a mouthful. He landed about 60 miles south of New Orleans in a place that's roughly now what is Mobile, Alabama, on March 2nd, 1699. And he called that area the Point du Mardi Gras because that's the day that it was when he landed there. It was Fat Tuesday. It was Mardi Gras.
Wow.
Here's a weird thing. You've noticed this probably. Explorers just kind of name stuff after whatever.
Yeah.
They don't really think very hard about it. They don't really know that that's going to be a legacy that's left for hundreds and hundreds of years on maps and in the lives of people that have to live there.
Yeah.
Did you know there's a place somewhat nearby us here called Shades of Death Road?
What?
Yeah, isn't that wild?
Yeah.
And the United States of America, in fact, was named after a guy named Amerigo Vespucci, who I think was a map maker and wasn't even involved in the discovery of the continent or the settling of the continent.
If I discovered new land, I would name it Peck Isle.
Peck Isle. If you landed on a new uncharted island?
No, like Peck's Isle.
Peck's Isle.
Yes.
Because you're Peck.
Yes.
That's right. Would you have like a party when you got there?
It would be every 20 years, and it would be the Pectacular.
The 20-year Pectacular.
Yes.
I like that. Well, that's exactly what these guys did. When they landed on Point de Mardi Gras, they had a small celebration, a little festival, and that was the first ever Mardi Gras party list.
Wow.
New Orleans was founded a few years later in 1718, and by then Mardi Gras celebrations were being held pretty regularly within the next couple decades or so. And 100 years later, we started to see the first Mardi Gras parades like the ones that we see today. You know, there's the big parade floats, and they throw these big costume balls, and everybody throws the beads from the floats in the balconies, and there's a king of Mardi Gras and brightly colored banners and costumes, and people are all running around shouting in French, Laissez le bon temps rouler, which is let the good times roll, a direct translation, which no one in France actually says. It's all really fun.
Have you ever? Oh, wait, you've never been.
No, I've never been to Mardi Gras, but my Aunt Mary and Uncle Charlie used to go to Mardi Gras every single year. They had like a timeshare on Bourbon Street, one of those apartments with a balcony, which was really cool. And each year they would get a poster print that was designed by a local artist, and it was like hand designed and numbered. And they would hang these posters from every year that they went to Mardi Gras in their basement. And it was the beautiful art with the sort of like royal motifs and the jesters and jokers and kings and purple and green and yellow and black colors. And they looked really awesome late at night in the dark when we would look at them in the basement. And in fact, Liz.
Wait, does she still go?
No, I don't think Aunt Mary goes to Mardi Gras anymore. In fact, I was just texting her to ask her questions about Mardi Gras, and she's trying to figure out the bakery that she would get her. Well, I'll hold that spoiler for a little bit later. But before that, I want to make a note real quick, because this is something that I think you experience too. Kids love basements.
I don't. I think they're scary.
Like finished basements. I don't mean like a dank cellar, Liz.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like if your friends have a big house with a big party basement in it. Well, this is exactly what Aunt Mary and Uncle Charlie had at their house. They had, Liz, a big screen TV. And this means nothing to you. I'm looking at you and you're just picking your fingernails right now when I say big screen TV. Because now like everybody has a big flat screen in their house. But way back in the day when we had giant tube TVs, having a big screen TV was like a huge deal.
Was that like your big screen?
Their TV was probably about that size, but they were square because we hadn't, consumer electronics had not caught up to the widescreen aspect ratio yet. So everything was in the 4:3 aspect ratio. And they were these big box projection TVs. They had these little like scratchy plastic lens covers on them that I always used to run my fingers on, and I would get yelled at for doing that. They had a Nintendo Entertainment System hooked up to the TV, the giant TV, which was like the only opportunity we had to play Nintendo really, really big. It was unbelievable. I know this doesn't mean anything at all to you, but this was like a huge, huge deal for kids way back when, because the biggest TV I think we had in our house at the time was like a 27-inch Zenith in our living room or something like that. The TV in my room was a 13-inch television when I finally got one, which is...
That's like the size of my computer.
It's smaller than your laptop screen, yeah. But that was a big deal. That was like the kind of TV that you had. We would play Excite Bike and Bubble Bobble and Ghosts and Goblins, Punch Out, even that crappy Top Gun Nintendo game where it was like impossible to land on the aircraft carrier. Liz.
What?
They also had a pool table.
Oh, I want a pool table.
And get this, it converted into a ping pong table. You could put a surface and a net on top of it and play ping pong on the pool table. That was awesome.
Dad.
Yeah.
When we redo this room, can we like get rid of like everything and just get a bunch of like party stuff?
Party stuff?
Yeah, like we would get rid of that big like sofa and all that stuff in that corner. We'll just get like a new like little couch area, and then we'll get like a ping pong table.
How big do you think this room is? You're sitting in it right now.
Well, I mean, if you like right there.
You just want to get rid of everything in the studio and put a ping pong table in.
Yes.
I have a better idea. How about you make friends with somebody that has a ping pong table in their house already?
I already do.
Oh, perfect. Then we don't need one.
No.
You know what we do need though? I've been looking
Wi-Fi extender.
Well, yeah, for sure. I've been looking for one of these on eBay for a long time. They also, in the basement list, had a big Mickey Mouse phone. It was a phone that was a statue of Mickey Mouse, and he was holding a yellow phone handset in his hand. It was so awesome. They had a very early Windows 3.1 personal computer. They had a subscription to Prodigy, Alyssa, to get online when you had to dial up to the internet on your phone line and pay per minute to use the internet.
Wow.
Yeah, you had no idea what that life is like, do you?
No.
Well, I can tell you this, Liz, for a kid back then, to have a space like that was your own, that we could go down and hang out in with our cousins during parties or holidays, that was amazing. It made us feel liberated. It was like a space of our own. It made us feel like kings, Alyssa. See what I'm getting at here?
Oh, that reminds me of something.
That reminds me of this week's snack. Up next on Junk Feud list, it's the Mardi Gras king cake.
Yes.
Alyssa, what do you know about king cakes?
Well, they're big. It looks like a big donut.
It does kind of look like a big donut, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a king cake, for those of you that don't know, is sort of like the official treat of Mardi Gras. It's a cross between sort of like a coffee cake and a French pastry, I guess, according to the official Mardi Gras New Orleans website.
Wait, I thought it was like cinnamon.
Yeah, it is.
Cinnamon.
It's usually cinnamon. It's most times a sort of like a rich, enriched brioche dough that's twisted and layered with cinnamon. And occasionally now there are other fillings that are put inside, like a sweetened cream cheese or like a berry compote, something like that. Cinnamon, yeah. And then it's frosted. It gets sort of like a hard white icing on top, and it's dusted with just a ton of sanding sugar in the traditional Mardi Gras colors of purple, green, and gold.
Purple, green, gold.
Purple, green, and gold. Those colors, in fact, were assigned as the official colors of Mardi Gras by this group called the Crew of Rex in 1872, Liz. Now, there are some differing interpretations on this. They are said to represent concepts of justice, faith, and power, or maybe justice, growth, and wealth, depending on who you ask. But when I looked up the historical records around this, it doesn't seem like there's any real special significance. The crew just picked these colors because they looked cool and regal, and they were going to have a king of Mardi Gras, so they thought a king should have royal colors and a royal banner. And that's what they did. Just like people pick names on maps because they think they sound neat at the time, these guys picked some colors that became the official colors of Mardi Gras because they thought they looked pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cakes themselves were probably introduced into the New Orleans region in around 1718, which coincidentally is the date of the founding of New Orleans, by Basque settlers from southwestern Europe and parts of what is now Spain. Liz.
Yeah.
What else was going on in 1718?
I have no clue.
No idea whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
If you can't remember back to like tube televisions, you probably can't remember back to 1718, right?
No.
Well, I can't either because I wasn't there, despite how old you think that I am. But
was George Washington alive?
Was George Washington alive in 1718? You know what? I don't remember. So he was definitely alive in 1776, but that would have placed him at around, I don't know, almost 60-something years old. So I don't know. That's a good question. We'll have to look that up. Tweet at us at JunkFeudPod if you know what year George Washington was born in. Oh, so as you look that up, so Liz, here's some other things that were going on in 1718. San Antonio, the city of San Antonio, was also founded, in addition to the city of New Orleans being founded. San Antonio.
He was not alive.
He was born in 1732?
Yeah.
So George Washington could have had a king cake at some point because they were already around by the time he was born.
He died 1799. Oh, in December too.
Almost made it.
Almost made it to 18.
Almost made it to 1800, but not quite.
Ooh, who's Martha? Oh gosh, they died at the same time too.
Well, shout out to George and Martha Washington.
When did she die? I love doing research.
This is the perfect time to do it too, during the middle of a live recording of your podcast.
I know.
Yeah. Liz.
She died 1802, so she made it.
She made it. Thank goodness. Martha Washington, I'll say it again, R.I.P. to a real one. How's that?
Yes.
So San Antonio, founded in 1718, site of the recent Royal Rumble, Alyssa, which our boy, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes won.
Yeah.
Shout out to Cody.
I wanted Kofi to win, but...
Oh, yeah. Kofi got wrecked in the Rumble this year. Every year he tries to do this spot where he sort of saves himself from elimination by doing something acrobatic on the outside. And this year he tried to jump from the ring onto a chair on wheels, and he just crashed and burned and hit the side of the announce table. It looked pretty ugly.
Yeah, he hit his head.
It's 2 years in a row Kofi hasn't been able to do the savior spot.
Wait, but also, Dad, what's the other guy's name in New Day?
Xavier Woods?
Yeah. During the Royal Rumble, it looked like they were going to fight each other, and then, what's the guy's name again?
Kofi.
No, the other guy.
Xavier Woods.
Yeah, he jumped on the Kofi and they started playing butt bongos.
That's right. They did the butt bongos. It was great.
I wanted to try that with Ella and then I fell on my head.
Yeah, so probably a good idea that two small children don't do a thing that two adult bodybuilders do, feats of strength, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Liz, also in 1718, Blackbeard the pirate blockaded the port at Charleston, South Carolina. And then later that year, he was also killed. So again, R.I.P. to a real one, Blackbeard the pirate.
R.I.P.
The War of the Quadruple Alliance began, Liz, and William Penn, the founder of Pennsylvania, whose likeness adorns the top of City Hall's rotunda in Philadelphia, died. And
Rotunda.
yeah, William Penn, another example of people just naming things without any forethought. Pennsylvania, he named after himself. It just means Penn's Woods.
Pencil.
Yeah,
Vania.
Pennsylvania. He just looked outside and said, "There's some trees. This is Penn's Woods because I'm Penn." Pretty bogus.
Bogus.
The forests
Togus.
outside of Philadelphia around Pennsylvania were pretty nice to look at. But listen, king cakes themselves haven't always been fun to look at, Alyssa.
Why?
Well, because the first ones were probably from pre-Christian times, like before the Lenten season and the influence of Christianity on the holidays. They were probably related to Roman Saturnalia celebrations lists, which were festivals that were praising the god Saturn for lengthening the days after the solstice leading into spring and summer. They would make these round cakes with figs and dates and honey, and they weren't as fancy looking as the Mardi Gras king cakes, but a cake made of figs and dates and honey actually sounds pretty good.
No,
I think I would try that.
I would not try that.
You don't think so? You've never had a fig Newton?
No.
Or a bacon wrapped date?
No.
Oh, those are good. Maybe we'll do those on the show. I mean, we're definitely doing fig Newtons. They're on the schedule.
What?
Yeah, bacon wrapped dates, I don't know though. A fig Newton is like a cookie, but...
We have to do jalapeno poppers.
Yes,
I love those things.
They're definitely on the schedule.
They're so good. And we have to do the dumplings.
Dumplings, jalapeno poppers, bacon wrapped dates, and fig Newtons.
No, but Dad, like the dumplings from Target, the good ones.
I don't know what you're talking about. You've been telling me about dumplings from Target for like 3 days now.
We had them during the football game, and you like set out this big tray of stuff, and you got out the little, like, we went to Target, and we got a bunch of these, like, snacks, like, we got the jalapeno poppers.
Frozen crap, yeah.
Yeah, but it was in there, and they were so good. They were, like, spicy.
I'll tell you what, we'll go to the store today, and you can point out what you're telling me about.
Okay.
Okay, Liz.
What?
Here's something I can point out. The name of the king cake refers to the 3 kings of the Epiphany. Again, we talked about the Epiphany earlier, January 6th, from the original Greek, meaning to show, where Jesus showed himself to the visitors that showed up. The 3 kings, the Magi. According to the biblical legend, they brought gifts to the newly born baby Jesus. You know the song.
Baby Jesus was born.
Oh, that song you sang in preschool. Yeah.
I still remember. I love that song.
And you know the song of the kings, We 3 Kings.
No.
Bearing gifts, we've traveled afar, gold, frankincense, and myrrh, that whole thing.
No.
You don't remember that from Claymation Christmas?
I know the Eagle song.
Unbelievable. Liz.
What?
You know how you said the king cake looks like a big donut?
Yeah.
It's actually supposed to be like crown shaped like a wreath or a crown.
Oh.
Represent the 3 kings and the crowns they wore. Thanks. And that, Liz, that leads us to the best part about the king cake, which isn't that it tastes great or looks awesome, which both of those things are true, or that it's associated with an absolute smasher of a party in Mardi Gras, which again, also true. It's that, Lissa, baked inside every king cake that you get is a little plastic baby who's meant to represent, in some tellings, the newborn baby Jesus.
Yeah, we have a funny story about that this year.
We do. We'll get to that when we eat the treat. But, Liz, before cheap plastic trinkets were available, there was usually like a thing called a fave, which was a fava bean, or sometimes maybe a coin that was baked into the cake as a treat. And nowadays, as back then, if you got the fave or if you get the plastic baby in your slice of king cake when it's served to you, according to the tradition, you either have to buy the cake that year, bring the cake to the party next year, or host the entire party yourself the next year.
Wow.
Yeah, and if you got the bean during the Saturnalia parties or festivals, you were anointed the King of Kings, in fact, for a brief period of time. And now, at some Mardi Gras parties, if you get the little plastic baby, you are the King of Mardi Gras for that year.
How is that going to work?
Well, it doesn't actually mean anything. It's just fun to say.
No, but I mean like next year.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a weird one for us. But, you know, it's kind of like a treasure hunt and a snack all in one time, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
This is not a tradition that has always happened. The little baby, of course. We talked about the beans and the coins before, but NPR says the tradition of hiding the baby in the cake came about in the 1940s because there was this guy named Donald Entringer, And he was running a commercial bakery in New Orleans that was called Mackenzie's. And according to the legend, there was a traveling salesman that came around and he had a production overrun on porcelain baby dolls that were sized to fit in dollhouses, Liz. So he had these little porcelain baby doll figures. And he talked to Entringer and suggested using them in the cakes. And interestingly enough, Donald Entringer went to the health department in New Orleans and got permission to bake the porcelain dolls into the cakes, and they were a big hit. And so he used that entire production overrun for years until he ran out, and then he switched to plastic baby dolls, which were easy to source from places like China that would make cheap plastic trinkets and junk.
Yeah.
The Mardi Gras king cake baby list is kind of a big deal in New Orleans. He's like a de facto mascot for all of Mardi Gras. And in fact, the basketball team down there, the New Orleans Pelicans from the NBA, even made the baby a seasonal mascot for the team in 2014.
Wow.
Liz, he is absolutely terrifying. Have you seen a picture of him?
No.
So you should look up New Orleans Pelicans king cake baby while you're doing your research right now. I will just tell you this. It's horrifying. It is pure nightmare fuel. It's this baby, this adult human-sized baby. He's got a giant head, these like big dead eyes, weird gap teeth. His skin is like sallow and yellowish. He's wearing this saggy diaper. Liz?
Ew.
To quote from Futurama, tell him I hate him.
Tell him I hate him. Why?
Oh, I don't like him. He's very weird looking.
Well, I have no Wi-Fi here, so.
Okay, great job. So, Liz, I was talking about Aunt Mary and Uncle Charlie and their Mardi Gras adventures earlier.
Yeah.
So they used to get a Mardi Gras king cake every year that was delivered to their house. And the one they just got was from the local ShopRite. It wasn't from anywhere down in New Orleans, although when they were down there, they would get local cakes from New Orleans. And usually, this was around the time of the Super Bowl. So we would get the cake early and we would watch the Super Bowl there because, again, like I said, they had the biggest TV. They had a big screen TV. And I remember one year getting the plastic baby in my slice of king cake, and I probably still have it somewhere if I had to guess.
Yeah.
I think it's possibly in a bin in our garage somewhere. I'm going to have to go look for that later.
No.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Do it when we redo the garage.
Oh, so I have to wait like 2 years to find the plastic baby?
Yeah.
Okay, well, if I find it then, I'll make sure to give it to you so that you have to buy the next cake.
No, I don't have money for that.
Liz.
What?
Nowadays, some bakeries won't actually bake the baby into the cake. That's kind of a weird sentence to say out loud, isn't it?
They won't bake the baby in the cake.
Yeah, it's mostly due to legal liability concerns around choking and such. So sometimes you have to hide it yourself. And some...
Did you hide it yourself?
I did not. The king cake that we got had the baby baked inside. And in fact, even on the carton that it came in, there was a little sticker that was pre-printed that said plastic baby baked in cake, just so you knew. So the way that some Mardi Gras parties will deal with this now is they will randomize who gets which slice of cake. So they slice the whole cake up, and then they have a child hide under the table and randomly call out names of the people at the party in an order as to who should have which slice of cake.
So what if the kid wants someone to get it?
But he can't know because they're randomizing who gets which piece.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
And that makes it fair.
Yes.
Liz.
What?
King cakes aren't just made here in the United States, especially since they have those Roman and French roots. In France, they're these round galettes, like a puff pastry that's filled... Puff pastry? I said pastry.
Pastry.
Yeah, it's like a puff pastry filled with the frangipane, which is like an almond cream. And if you get the bean or the baby that comes in that king cake, you get to wear a little paper crown that comes with it when you buy it. Germany has their own Three Kings cake that's shaped like a wreath. The almond there's like a little almond as a prize inside instead of a plastic baby. In Portugal, there's a cake called a bolo rei. Mexico has rosca de reis. And in the UK, in the 1600s anyway, there was a thing called Twelfth cake, which would celebrate Twelfth Night, which was another name for the Epiphany.
Oh.
Nowadays, in New Orleans, every bakery makes a king cake, and there are many, many opinions on whose New Orleans king cake is the best.
What?
One of the most popular is a bakery called Manny Randazzo's. Manny Randazzo Sr. opened his first bakery in 1965. By 1992, his son Manny Jr. had opened his own storefront with his father's help. But by 1995, the king cakes that they were baking based on Manny Sr.'s recipe were so popular that Manny Jr.'s shop switched its business model to only make king cakes and nothing else at all.
Whoa.
Yeah, so all year, starting in January.
That's all they did. Just nothing but king cakes?
That's right. They open in January. They sell king cakes up until Fat Tuesday, and then they close again. You can get them shipped to you anywhere in the world, but you have to order like super early because all the shipping slots will sell out for the entire season at least a month in advance. Ask me how I know this.
How do you know this?
I tried to buy a Manny Randazzo king cake, and when I went on the website, it said, don't buy king cakes. We are sold out for the entire year.
Whoa.
Yeah. And in fact, king cake mania, Lissa, has ramped up. It's not just cakes anymore. There's a local New Orleans brewery called Zony Mash that has a king cake stout beer.
Whoa.
And there's a pop-up called the King Cake Hub. It's sort of like an outdoor food space where they sell more than 70 different varieties of king cakes that are so popular that you cannot pre-order them and you can't have them delivered. If you want one of those king cakes from the King Cake Hub, you just have to show up in person on the day to see what they've got.
Whoa.
There's a store called Canada's. They have more than 50 different flavors of king cakes. There's a very famous bakery called Joe Gambino's. They'll ship you a cake on food services like Goldbelly. And then there's another place called Paul's Pastry in Picayune, Mississippi. I spent some time in Picayune, Mississippi, Liz. You remember that?
Yeah.
After Hurricane Katrina, we went to help do some cleanup there. My friend Jeremy almost killed me with an axe. Shout out to Jeremy.
Yes, Jeremy.
Yeah. What?
What?
No. You don't Yas Queen someone that almost murdered me. Anyway, Paul's Pastry in Picayune, Mississippi makes about 2,000 king cakes a day. They'll ship them anywhere in the world year round. And they've even set up a franchising operation to teach other bakeries around the country how to make king cakes according to their recipe. And that's kind of a spoiler alert for what we've got today.
Yeah.
There's also a Vietnamese bakery called Dong Phuong that consistently ranks at the top of local lists. And then there's a place called Haydel's, which will still put porcelain babies, not plastic ones, inside their cakes. And they come up with a new design for the baby every year.
Wow.
In fact, Liz, if you want to, you can even get savory versions of king cakes. There's a place called the Bywater Bakery that made Taylor Swift's birthday cake this year.
Wow.
There you can get a crawfish and sausage cake.
Ew.
Yeah, I don't think that would be my favorite. You know what my favorite part of this show is, though?
Yeah.
What is it?
Alyssa reads the ingredients.
Alyssa reads the ingredients. And,
What are the ingredients?
well, I forgot to get them. So hold tight for 1 second. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more Junk Feud.
Hey guys, so Dad's gone and it's Alyssa here and I am so excited to eat this cake, guys. I hope you guys have a sleigh-tastic day. And I hope my dad doesn't see this until he edits it. So, hey, Dad. Okie dokie.
And we're back.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I gave our listeners a little bit of a talk.
Well, they'll never know what it says because I'm editing all that out.
No.
Go ahead.
All right. Bleached wheat flour, sugar, shortening, partially hydrogenated soybean and cottonseed oils, eggs, yeast, salt, powdered sugar, butter, vanilla flavor, sliced almonds. We can't have this.
Those were just a garnish on the top. I got rid of those.
Oh. U.S. certified colors, yellow 5, blue 1, red 3, and 4D, whatever that is. Citric acid and sorbitol may contain one or more of these following: cream cheese filling, cream cheese, sugar, vinegar, water. Sodium benosate, less than 1/10 or 1%. Potassium sorbate, less than 1/10 of 1%. Apple, apricot, blackberry, blueberry, cinnamon, cherry, cocoa, coconut, chocolate chips, key lime, maple flavor, peach, pecans, pineapple, strawberry, walnut, corn syrup, modified food starch, calcium, lactate, sodium phosphate, preservatives, allergies, pecans, walnuts, eggs, wheat, dairy, soy. This king cake contains a plastic baby.
Great job. Now, all of that stuff is not in our cake because
We are allergic to half the stuff in that.
well, we're allergic to a lot of it, sure. But also, we didn't get one of those fancy, fruity filled cakes. We got a standard, from this bakery anyway, cinnamon cream filling in our cake. And, Liz,
What?
that means it's time to play. So let's get to the rules of the game.
Yeah.
Junk Feud is a culinary clash to see which treat will be crowned the undisputed champion of snacks. It's a king of the mountain style battle in which the reigning champ takes on a new challenger each week to see which snack reigns supreme. And Alyssa,
What?
the reigning defending undisputed champion of snacks is
Bananas.
banana cream pie. Banana cream pie successful in its sixth title defense last week against Sweetheart's Conversation Hearts. The outcome was never in doubt.
Yeah.
It was a strong showing by the champ. After almost falling to gummy bears of all things, I couldn't believe that. Lissa,
What?
the path of destruction has been carved through the bodies of the fallen. Who can stop banana cream pie?
I don't know.
Well, we have a challenger this week, of course.
Yeah.
And today we're trying Mardi Gras king cake. Alyssa, it was kind of an ordeal to get this, actually.
Yeah.
I had to drive to a special bakery that makes these according to the recipe from Paul's Pastries in Picayune, Mississippi. The story, like we told earlier, was even though Paul's Pastries makes 2,000 king cakes a day, they claimed they couldn't keep up with demand, so they licensed a bunch of different bakeries around the country, including Le Bon Bakeries in New Jersey, to make their special recipe king cakes. So
How far away was this?
This was about 45 minutes away. I drove down to Somerset, where we used to live, to Le Bon Bakeries. I pre-ordered a standard cinnamon cream cheese filled king cake made specially from the recipe from Paul's Pastries in Picayune. So this is about as authentic as we can get locally baked in New Jersey. I thought about ordering online one of the king cakes from one of the places that still had them available. I think Gambino's maybe I could have gotten one from, but that was a little bit cost prohibitive because it was like, I don't know, $30 to ship it in 2 days to get it here so that it was still fresh.
Whoa.
Yeah, anyway, no additional challengers today, no interlopers. The king stands alone. Either king cake will win out by itself or not at all.
Yeah.
So you know what that means, Liz?
What?
It's crunch time. We rate our
Crunch time.
snacks using a tier list from sprinkles to fun dip.
Sprinkles to fun dip.
So snacks can be graded A, B, C, D, or F, with the very best treats earning the elusive S tier ranking. The following contest is scheduled for one serving.
One serving.
And is for the undisputed championship of junk food. Liz, are you ready to try a king cake for the first time ever?
Yes. Have you tried it yet?
Yes.
Dad. How dare you?
I wanted some dessert last night.
I didn't have it yet.
Well, here you go.
So.
This is your first sampling of a Mardi Gras king cake. Describe for the people what you're seeing in front of you right here.
It looks like a Cinnabon
It does kind of look like a Cinnabon.
with purple sugar on top.
Lots and lots of purple sugar on top of the white icing that you have on top of the cake. So what we're looking at here is sort of like an enriched dough, like a brioche. Although the Paul's Pastries version is not twisted like you might see from Gambino's or Randazzo's. Those are for later. The crumb inside is tight and dense. It looks a little bit like a pound cake almost, actually, which is kind of weird. But there is a healthy layer of a cinnamon cream cheese frosting kind of in the middle. So
This is so hard.
let's try this out right now.
This has been sitting for so long.
So initially, a big chunk of sugar and icing fell off the top of my cake. Let's try it out.
It's really good. It just tastes like a big cinnamon. It's really hard to cut, though.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. This tastes sort of like a deconstructed cinnamon roll. Like the frosting and the cinnamon and brown sugar filling is all sort of mushed together into a big glob right in the middle. And then the dough that's sort of baked into the cake around it is very, very similar to what you might get from an enriched, yeasty kind of cinnamon roll dough. So it has that similar flavor profile, which is really good. That works in its favor. And I should say, it smells very cinnamony as well.
It does. I'm not really a big fan of cinnamon, but this isn't bad.
When I picked it up from the bakery the other day, Liz, my whole car smelled like a Cinnabon inside, which was really nice. It was made for a good ride home.
I'm done.
So you've got a good flavor. You've got a good taste for it. You can tell what you think about this snack already just from having a few bites there.
Yeah.
So Liz, let's see. Let's hit the bliss point. What do you think about this week's snack? What are your thoughts on the king cake from Mardi Gras?
Well, it smells good.
It definitely does smell good.
Tastes good.
It definitely tastes good. It's got the classic flavor profile of like a cinnamon roll.
I'll give it maybe like B+.
B+. Wow, really strong rating for the king cake there. I think, Liz, if we were in New Orleans or we were closer to places where king cakes are more of a historical tradition, we would have been able to try a bunch of different flavors, a bunch of different varieties. We would have gotten a better taste for the cultural entity that is the Mardi Gras king cake. In this case, I think we did as good as we possibly could do living this far away from New Orleans with something that's mostly authentic. And it's good. This is something that, like, if we just had these laying around for breakfast on a lazy weekend, I would be completely satisfied with having a slice of king cake all the time. And in fact, I think probably we'll make this a tradition now. Around Mardi Gras time, we will probably get a king cake every year if I had to guess.
Okay.
Yeah, how's that sound?
Sounds good.
So I think, yeah, my rating for the king cake is going to be a strong B, right in the middle, above average snack. Mardi Gras king cake, specifically Paul's Pastries from Picayune, Mississippi, as baked by Le Bon Bakery, Somerset, New Jersey. That gets a B.
Yeah.
And you gave it a B+. That's a strong showing. So what do you think that means, Liz, for the competition?
Banana cream pie still is winning.
Yeah, I don't think that the king cake, even in its best incarnation, could stand up to the majesty of banana cream pie. And that means, Liz,
What?
our winner and still reigning, defending, undisputed champion of snacks, banana cream pie.
Yes.
This was a good fight, though. King cake is good.
Batty, batty queens.
You know what I think elevates king cake a little bit? Like, if this was a thing that we just had all the time, I probably wouldn't rate it as high. It's an interesting pastry, not something that's like totally lights out, but the fact that it's so associated with Mardi Gras, which is a fun time, that you eat it only once a year like other holiday foods, and that it looks so fun with all the different colored icings and sugars on top. And, of course, the plastic baby inside. I should note.
Oh, wait, I want to tell this part.
Neither of us got the plastic baby in our cake slice today. Liz, why is that?
So, yesterday, since the cake is, like, really big, we decided to split half of it with my friend.
Shout out to Ella, friend of the show, Ella.
And they were all trying their pieces, right? So, they sealed the container, sealed it as tight as they could. 2 people went back and sealed it. When they got back from Hadley's basketball game, they found out that Cooper, the dog, decided to eat the cake, and Cooper got the baby.
Yeah, that's right. Cooper the dog, Cooper the real human dog, snuck up onto the counter, ate all of the king cake that was left over, and almost choked on the plastic baby. So, according to tradition,
Cooper's buying our next cake.
Cooper the dog has to buy the next king cake and host the next Mardi Gras party next year.
Yep.
And by next year, I think we will have some new Oreos to try out for the Oreo rule. And in fact,
we have some today.
We have a new Oreo today. Liz, this is the most Oreo. Yes, this is a standard Oreo chocolate wafer sandwich cookie, but it's filled with, get this, a mega stuff amount of filling. This is more than a double stuff, maybe like even twice as much as a double stuff. And I should note, the filling itself is Oreo cookies and cream flavored. So to do the exhibit meme, yo dog, I heard you like Oreo, so I put some Oreo inside your Oreo. Oh my gosh, and you've made a double most mega stuff because you took the guts out of one most Oreo and put it inside another most Oreo.
Yep.
That is a monstrosity. These are limited edition, available for a short time only. These are huge cookies. They're essentially Oreo-flavored Oreos. Are you ready to try them?
Yeah.
The Oreo inception, the Oreo inside of an Oreo surrounded by more Oreo.
Wait, do the size.
Yours is, yeah. The one you have is twice as large as the one that I have. That's unbelievable. So anyway, here's a bite. Okay, so immediately these are delicious, obviously. It's an Oreo-flavored Oreo with extra cream in the middle. All the things that I like. But, I don't know, I think it misses the mark a little bit. That is an abomination, what you have done there. You are picking pieces of the cream out of the sides because it has exploded out because there's just so much of it.
There we go.
You're back to a normal configuration now, huh?
Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think about the Oreo cookies and cream flavored cream inside of the most stuffed, mega stuffed, most Oreo?
Tastes the same as regular stuff.
You think this tastes the same as just a regular Oreo?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's not that far off. If anything, the cream has a little bit of a deeper flavor profile by the addition of what look to be little specks of crushed up Oreo inside of it. I don't know. It's good. Mega stuff is not my preferred configuration of Oreo because the ratios are off. But
I feel like the cookies are a little more chocolatey.
The cookies taste a little more chocolatey?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. So none of the copies said that they were different in any way. They're supposed to be just the standard wafers, but that could be a contrast against the amount of cream that's in there. Anyway, they're good. What do you think?
Very good.
B plus?
Yeah.
Yeah, B plus. Not bad, not great, not the best, but an interesting and worthy addition to the canon of Oreos. And speaking of interesting additions to canon, that was a bad segue. That doesn't actually mean anything. Each episode, we ask a very important question. Can you deep fry this week's snack? And Liz?
Obviously.
Of course, those culinary maniacs in New Orleans, have found ways to deep fry king cakes. There is a place called Joe's Cafe in the greater New Orleans area. They make king cakes that are based on a fried donut dough. There's a place called Meech's King Cakes, also in New Orleans. They claim to be the only bakery that fries their cakes, which we know obviously that's not true because Joe's does it as well. They sort of liken the flavor profile of a fried king cake to a fried turkey, as if you would contrast the baked king cake from a roasted turkey. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And then there's also Mr. Ronnie's Famous Hot Donuts. They make a fried donut king cake just like Joe's does. There's a place called Freestyle Cakes that'll deep fry you a king cake. Lots of places that will make you a fried king cake beignet. Do you know what a beignet is, Liz?
No.
Well, that is a subject for next year's Mardi Gras edition of Junk Feud.
Oh.
And on that note, it's time to check out the back of the box.
The back of the box.
A weekly segment where we play a little game. Liz, would you like to play a little game?
I would love to play a game because this is my favorite game.
Yeah, this week's segment returning once again, Around the World in 80 Bites. On Around the World in 80 Bites, we try snacks from across the globe. And Liz.
Yep.
I recently spent some time in London.
Yes, you did.
I did. So on this week's edition of Around the World in 80 Bites, we're going to feature some snacks from across the pond. Liz, we have some knickknacks.
What's a knick-knack?
Knickknacks are crisps. This is a grab bag of knickknacks that are the nice and spicy flavors, so like potato chips. And also from the last time our friend Scott, shout out to Scott, went across the pond to London.
Shout out to my basketball coach.
Coach Wood. We have some Smarties and some Cadbury Dairy Milk candies. So we have some chocolates and we have some crisps, some things that England is known for on the snack front. Liz, a few quick observations about London, England. The entire country, the entire population of the entire country is inside of a pub every single day from the hours of 4 p.m. to 11 p.m., which is considered after work time.
Yeah.
That's wild. On a Wednesday night at 9:30, we went to an Irish bar, and it was rocking like it was Labor Day weekend down the shore on a school night. Just absolutely wild. And with that said, I like pub grub, Liz. Bangers and mash, fish and chips, steak and ale pies.
I do not like fish and chips.
Well, I don't really like fish and chips, but I like the idea of fish and chips.
Oh.
It was pretty good. Either way. I had some of the best Indian food of my entire life at a restaurant called Dishoom. Liz, you might not know this. Many people might not know this, but chicken tikka masala, the world famous Indian dish, like the most commonly ordered item at Indian restaurants around the world, was actually invented by a Pakistani immigrant to Scotland in Glasgow.
Dad.
Yes, dear.
Pakistan, if you look at it, it looks like a dinosaur.
The word Pakistan looks like a dinosaur?
No. Like,
the country looks like a dinosaur. Wow, you know what? I never thought of that before. Now I'm probably not going to be able to unsee that.
That's because that's how we remember it when we take our map quizzes.
Oh, that's a good idea. Look for shapes and identify the countries by shape.
Yeah, like if it's in, Asia or something, and you're looking at Chad, it looks like a man.
Chad looks like a man.
Like the hair is the top.
Oh, clever. Well, let's eat some snacks here and be clever ourselves. Let's try the knickknacks first.
I want to try knickknacks last.
You want to try knickknacks last?
Yeah, because I want the spice in our mouth to be later. Because I want to make sure I can taste these first.
Last bite, best bite, sure. Okay, so one dairy milk for you and one for me. These are little tiny, individually wrapped.
They are the classic
size.
creamy taste.
Yeah, so England, known for having milk chocolate that is much better than the milk chocolate in the U.S. In fact, I had a conversation with someone at a pub about why chocolate in the United States tastes like vomit.
Oh, what's in the middle?
Nothing. This is just a solid block of chocolate.
Oh.
Yeah, so this is just good, straight up, plain old milk chocolate. Cadbury Dairy Milk, that's sort of like industry standard for comparison of milk chocolate around the world. It is smooth. It is creamy. It is not gritty at all. There's a little bit of nuttiness, sort of like a roastiness from the cacao beans. Very good. Excellent chocolate. I'd take this over Hershey's any day.
Me too.
And next we have Smarties.
I hate Smarties.
Well, so that's the funny thing. In the UK, Smarties are not what we call Smarties. Smarties here are sort of like small, slightly sour, chalky candies. Smarties in the UK are like M&Ms.
Really?
Yeah.
No nuts?
No nuts. These are chocolate with a candy shell.
Wait, I want to make it... Are there any greens? Oh, there's a green. I need a green, Dad.
So these are interesting. They are slightly smaller than a regular M&M, but slightly larger than an M&M Mini. So they sort of occupy that middle space in size and configuration, which means you're getting a little bit more candy per bite than you would with a normal M&M and a little bit less chocolate. And I think that actually works here. My main problem with M&Ms is that the balance is off between the intense sweetness of the candy shell and sort of the punchy sourness of the milk chocolate inside, because it's standard US milk chocolate. And I think the ratios are just a little bit wrong. On these, they're a little bit better. I wouldn't make UK Smarties my go-to treat, but they're not bad if that's all you have on hand. So far, Cadbury milk, very good. Smarties, kind of middle of the road. Let's try the Knick Knacks Nice and Spicy. This says on the back, knobbly, wacky sticks of corn, intensely tasty, unusually knobbly. So knobbly is an adjective, a descriptor that we don't usually use over here. So let's see what they mean by knobbly. Oh, these are Cheetos.
And why are they spicy?
They're like hot Cheetos, I guess. So let's try them out. They smell good. They do smell good. They don't smell like flaming hot Cheetos. They smell like...
Smell different. All right.
They smell kind of like the...
Like the ketchup fries.
They smell a little bit like ketchup chips or ketchup fries.
They smell like
I think
spice.
they smell almost a little bit like a less intense Walker's Roast Chicken Crisp, actually.
These taste like the things on the boardwalk.
What are the things on the boardwalk?
Like
crab fries?
Yeah, with the different spices.
Oh, yeah. So there's crab fries, French fries with Old Bay seasoning on them, a Philadelphia treat that was invented allegedly by, or at least popularized by, a sports bar called Chickies and Pete's. These are not bad. These are like Cheetos with a better flavor profile.
I would have these over Cheetos any day.
Yeah, these are good.
By the packaging, it looks like my mouth is going to burn off.
Yeah, the packaging here, very intense. Orange and red.
There's
sort of
fireworks.
That splotchy, late 90s, early 2000s, extreme font, fireworks and such, yeah.
I think they're really good, though.
Yeah, these are nice. I think you're probably going to finish this bag today.
Probably.
And we're going to finish this show, as I crunch into the microphone. This podcast should reach you in excellent condition, satisfaction guaranteed, or your money back. If you've got a question for us, you can write to the address on the label. That's junkfeudpod@gmail.com. Liz,
Yeah.
any final thoughts?
No.
No, of course not. Never. This podcast has contained your recommended daily allowance of fun. For more, go to Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or wherever you choose to be social. Find us at Junk Feud Pod. You can stream with us on Twitch, watch fun-sized snack reviews on YouTube, buy merch on TeePublic, and fund us on Patreon at Junk Feud Pod for exclusive bites. And don't forget to catch all the snaction each and every week wherever you listen to podcasts. Until we see you again, for Alyssa, I'm Mike.
Pasta lasagna.
Don't get any on ya.
Bye.